The average age of a first-time homebuyer is skyrocketing.
Americans have been all over social media explaining why it is impossible for them to buy homes. Student loans, high mortgage rates, low salaries.
The past 50 years, property prices have way outpaced wage growth.
A 57% increase of 25 to 34-year-olds living with their parents.
The homeownership rate is about 5 percentage points lower than Gen X was when they were in their 30s, and is about 7 percentage points lower than baby boomers when they were in their 30s.
Would I have been in a better economic position not taking in the graduate student loan debt? Yeah, probably.
I'm just freaked out about your generation. If you look at the price of houses relative to incomes, basically home ownership has become a pipe dream for young people. I saw one stat that just absolutely blew my mind. In 1980, the average age of a home buyer was 29, and now it's 47.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm a millennial, but don't hold it against me. I think being a millennial gives me a really unique perspective on the topic of today's video, which is millennial homebuyers. The specific phenomenon that I think we have to discuss is why the average age of a first-time homebuyer is skyrocketing. It was only a few years ago that people were buying their first homes in their late 20s and early 30s. Today, that age has shifted into the late 30s, rapidly approaching 40. But why is this happening? Let's start with the obvious, inflation. This one isn't specific to first-time homebuyers, but with the cost of living on the rise, money that might have gone towards a down payment is now stretched thin, just covering groceries, utilities, and transportation. One that millennials have specifically been brutally plagued by is student loans. Millennials are saddled with loans that take years, even decades, to pay off. This crippling financial burden makes it an overwhelming challenge to accumulate enough savings for a down payment on a home. In fact, 37% of would-be homebuyers between the ages of 25 and 43 stated that student loans were the biggest inhibiting factor in them not purchasing a home sooner. Let's talk about soaring rent prices. In an ironic turn of events, millennials are paying so much money to rent their homes and apartments that the simple cost of having the privilege to live in an acceptable home stifles their capacity to save. Furthering the irony, they're simply paying someone else's mortgage with interest. An overwhelming 39% of millennials reported that their current high rent was the reason behind not having enough money to purchase a home. Finally, we have to talk about stagnant wages and market shifts. While costs have soared over the last few years, wages have not kept pace. In addition, the modern gig economy and just general job market volatility have made a long-term commitment like mortgages feel riskier to younger buyers. All right, that's what every other video would say. But here's what I think. What do we have here? A resort in Mexico? Cabo, perhaps? I know this is in downtown Dallas. I could get used to this. Contrast that with this. For about the same monthly rent payment, you could mortgage this residential townhome unit in Denton, Texas, which clearly doesn't have the same appeal. That being said, given average year-over-year appreciation, this property in 3 years will have earned you $30,000 in equity, and in 5 years, it'll earn you $50,000 in equity. That's something that your apartment rental just can't do. Now, here's why that $30,000 to $50,000 is so important. I'm standing inside of my own kitchen right now, and it's a pretty nice kitchen, which is ironic because I don't really cook. It's just that if I hadn't bitten the bullet and purchased that first unideal, inexpensive house, there is no way I ever would have been able to save enough money to put a down payment on a house like this. That first house that I purchased, as small, inexpensive, and unideal as it was, with its green Formica countertops, its white appliances, and its brass fixtures, was the thing that allowed me to live in the place that I now live and live the lifestyle that I now get to live. And I couldn't have done it
had I not bitten the bullet and bought that first house. Your first purchase in real estate has the capacity to unlock a new lifestyle for you if you'll just be willing to endure a little bit of discomfort for 3 to 5 years.
So what can you do if you're a millennial dreaming of homeownership? Here are some steps that you can take right now to break free from the rental trap and start building financial gains for your future in real estate. Step 1, act now, even if it's not perfect. It might be tempting to wait for the perfect home, but every month you spend renting is a missed opportunity to build equity. A modest starter home is the best stepping stone towards your financial future. Remember, the goal is to get into the market and start investing in yourself, not to live a lavish lifestyle. 2, prioritize savings. Take a hard and objective look at your budget and cut back on unnecessary expenses. Credit cards and car loans are the biggest expenses outside of student loans and rent that are plaguing would-be first-time homebuyers. Maybe you don't need the 85-inch OLED TV, and maybe you could just drive a domestic SUV instead of the expensive import. Most of us don't like our cars enough to live in them, and that's what's likely to happen if we keep up with these high payments. 3, explore first-time homebuyer programs. There are numerous government and local programs designed to help specifically first-time homebuyers. These programs can offer down payment assistance, favorable mortgage rates, even tax incentives. Do your research, or better yet, talk to a mortgage or financial professional about your options. 4, educate yourself about real estate. Knowledge is power, and the more you understand about the real estate market, mortgage rates, and property values, the better equipped you're going to be to make informed decisions. If you've ever been on WebMD and been informed of your imminent unaliving because of something like a hangnail, you know that the information that's on the internet isn't always the best place for accurate data, especially data that's unique to your situation. It's for this reason that I highly recommend you meet with a qualified local real estate professional and vet them by interviewing them and reading some of their reviews. Millennials today face a set of challenges that previous generations never did. Soaring inflation, massive student loans, and the seductive trap of luxury rentals that promise a glamorous lifestyle but cost you in the long run. However, the power to change your financial future has never been more in your hands. By prioritizing homeownership, even if that means starting with a very modest home, you're taking a crucial step toward building long-term financial wealth. And wealth comes with options, and options equals freedom. And I think that's what we're all really after. Remember, it's not about finding the perfect home right away. It's actually about taking action now so that you have more and better options in the future. If you found this video insightful or enjoyable, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel. It really helps me a lot to be able to create more content like this. For more real estate questions and advice, leave a comment below and let's start a conversation to help each other navigate these challenging decisions. See you next time. The largest multifamily developer in America is called Greystar, and their CEO is a gentleman by the name of Bob Faith. I did a deep dive into Bob Faith's insidious, behind-the-scenes agenda to stifle homeownership among young Americans, and you won't believe what I found out. Nothing. Yeah, there was nothing to that theory. Turns out Greystar and companies like it have just been way, way, way better at filling the void in housing than home builders were. So, yeah, no one to blame but yourself, I guess. Rough.